welcome to the Vantage Point. We are so glad to be with you this happy day, whatever day you're watching. It's the day that we want to be happy with you. We're so excited that you're here, though, and we're hoping we have a wonderful topic for you. To my left, I have the Dr. Jessica Mosley. There is nobody like her. And then I have to my right, the amazing Jennifer Rogers and the just dynamic Crystal Dunn. I am so honored to be at the table with these ladies today. My name is Takoya Porter. Yeah, so that's about it. But today we're going to talk about balancing our lives and feeling overwhelmed. A lot of times as women, we get the question, how do you do it all? Now, when you're teenagers, you don't think about that much. Yeah. But as you start to get into those 20s and 30s and you have families and you have careers, and if you have a church life, I don't know what kind of church you go to, but the kind of church we go to is a church life. And so if you have all of these things pressing on you, one thing that can be very hard to do is balance things or figure out how to handle everything. Ladies, let's start here. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life?
I want you to answer that because I want to ask you that.
Okay.
So it begins. I want her to answer it.
I have felt overwhelmed by life.
So what have you done? What have you done to relieve that? Because you do balance a lot. You're a youth pastor, mother, wife, 20 years. Yeah. Your parents are very famous.
Are they though?
No, seriously. Like, what do you do to balance all of that?
Well, I think.
Do you feel the weight of your responsibility often?
Yes.
How do you?
I am constantly reminded of every weight upon my life, and it's not the kind of weights you can lay aside before somebody tries to be scriptural on me. Some weights are just your responsibilities to carry indefinitely, like children, or whatever ministry the Lord gives you, or just things you have to do. So have I ever felt overwhelmed? Absolutely. Am I leading this conversation? Maybe.
Oh, sorry. I told her I was going to ask
but her. She did. But no, definitely I felt overwhelmed because life throws a lot of stuff at you. Yeah. And some things I get to plan, but then things don't always go according to plan. Yeah. And it's days where the plans get thrown off are the days that I tend to feel a little more helter-skelter, if that's the word, because I like things to go according to plan when they can.
You said that.
I do. But how do I handle that? It depends on which thing it is throwing it off, honestly, because I think everything calls for a different conclusion, i.e., for today, I got here on time, and it's kind of far to come here from my house, and pulled up, and my daughter's at school crying because of her outfit. So I'm like, okay, how can I possibly?
For Reagan, yes.
It is for Reagan.
If I was around, I would go, girl, what you need? I would go buy it.
What do you need?
I did buy it through Target. Shipped is delivering her replacement right now.
I love it.
Because it's so important to her.
Yeah.
And telling her I can't. Because I'm doing this. Yeah. It does, as a mom, that kind of thing always makes you feel like you're failing them. Mm-hmm. She's crying, she needs me, and it's kind of my fault she's wearing what she has on. Because I did tell her, just wear this, and now she's like, if I would have just done what I wanted to do. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to spend at least $35 minimum to get this to you within an hour. But it does. So it depends on, to answer your question, it depends on what's throwing me off at the moment. Mm-hmm. With the ministry stuff, it's not always that easy. Marital stuff, it's not always that easy. Mm-hmm. Luckily, with this kind of stuff, I can try to make it work.
No problem. We'll do Target delivery.
I hate spending money. If you know me, I'm kind of frugal. But today, she's going to get those pants. So it just depends on what's trying to throw off the balance in my life. I don't know, ladies. You guys all do a lot of things.
The reason I asked you, like I said, because I think pastorship is a big deal because you're dealing with a lot of people, a lot of different personalities. Me, I probably would go lock myself in the closet like, you deal with your own problems. That's why God didn't call me to that role. But I always think about Sequoia, because when I see you at church, I just think, when I view you, like we see like this big personality here on the show, But when I see you like on your everyday, you're just so calm and relaxed. And I'm just like, this girl be acting like she don't got a care in the world. Just sit there with her legs crossed, like. That's how you see Takoya. Does she act like that?
I mean, I'm a chill person for the most
Yeah,
part.
I think
very
that's just
chill.
normal.
Like too chill. I'm like, this girl just sitting there.
You
Like
should
me,
be
I'll be
spazzing out.
lazy. Takoya just sit there like. I love it though.
You know, my daughter is so emotional, and I tell her this all the time. I'm like, girl, you are so emotional. You act just like your mama. Used to. I said, but then I married somebody who's more emotional than me, and we couldn't both do it. And so I made the decision that we will not both be this emotional. No, for real. I think, and that is what I said. But I think being married has kind of mellowed some of that out. And then I'm very, like I've said this on the show before, I'm very logical with my emotions. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to be emotional first. Like I'll check that and handle that later because we got to get through it. Or so that's one way I guess I balance the emotional side of things is I try to think past what I'm feeling.
That's beautiful. I need to start. I like talking to these ladies. It gives me like real life steps to do. Like, okay, I'm gonna think past this and then come back to this. Okay.
So.
All right. She's leading the show.
No, go for it, Jess.
No. She's leading the show.
No, my ship shopper is texting me right now. So go for it, Jess.
That's so crazy.
No, but seriously, ladies, how do you guys handle like stress and not just stress, but I'm saying the balance. You've all done this. You all work full-time, work in ministry, and serve a lot of people. And I know people have asked you this.
You know,
actually.
I prioritize, what's really important to me.
Yeah.
If I die tomorrow, my job is going to find somebody to take my spot.
They're going to put your job post up the day.
I have learned, right, and because I feel like I put my heart and energy in every single thing that I commit to.
You do, Jenny.
Sometimes I overwhelm myself. And so
And
I've
those around
learned,
you.
the older I've gotten, I'm learning that, the devil really is in the details. And some of those details you just need to leave alone. And so I'm learning to, deal with the big picture instead of all the little things that, really nobody would notice.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that good enough quality. It's good enough. It's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. I know.
That's a
It's
lot.
a big
Here
deal.
for you. No, I'm serious. Everybody around her gets the pressure that she feels.
And I put the pressure on myself. Nobody puts it on me. Nobody expects that.
But why do you put it on others?
I do put it on other people. I do. And I'm trying not to do that as much.
Okay.
But I do because I do that to my kids. My son told me, Mom, you never tell me when I do a good job. You always tell me what I could have done better. Because that's what I tell myself.
I understand.
Right? Yeah. I never say, oh, great job, Jennifer. No, I'm always looking at that like you could have did that differently. So, again, age helps you with some of that. You don't have to be perfect. And I don't know, I probably got daddy issues or something that make me do that. I don't know. But
I love this show, man.
but, I've learned to just settle myself down.
Yeah.
And prioritize what's really important. If my husband needs me, I will walk off the show just now.
Yep.
I would leave. If my kids need me, I'm out of here. Y'all figure it out. Or I'm calling Target to get somebody.
It was just delivered. I have the picture. Thank you.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I've gotten to get creative about how you balance your life. But you really do have to think about the things that are important to you and the people that are important to you. So,
I like what you said about prioritizing. I think everybody has sold Mary Kay, or somebody has tried to get them to become a sales rep with Mary Kay. I sold Mary Kay probably about 20 different times in my life. But there's a book by Mary Kay, and the one thing that I did take from that I utilize in my life, the day before, I write down the 6 most important things that I have to do for the next day. And then anything after that is just extra. Because it stresses me out so bad. Like you plan for go a certain way and it doesn't, then I'm stressed out for the rest of the day. I call and Jenny bugging her, just stressed out about, because everything's not gonna go but when you are passionate about what you do, I think we put all that pressure on ourselves because nobody would know if the balloons weren't the color that you asked the person who decorated your banner to be. I'm like, oh my God, I'm stressed out over some black and pink balloons. No, seriously, because but it's ridiculous the pressure that we'll put on ourselves. And I'm like, okay, Jessica, this thing is going to be over in an hour. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to know. But I am learning to say no more. I put a lot of pressure on myself when I say yes to everything. Like I have a lot of clients. I have clients that are A-list. I have some A-list celebrities, some B, some C, some D-list celebrity clientele. And I thought I was needy. That's a whole different conversation. And I have to learn to say, don't text me at 2 o'clock in the morning or call me unless, because I'm thinking something could be wrong. I have a trauma issue from my childhood, or growing up or whatever. So, because when the phone ring that late, something's wrong. Did you get my bio? I didn't check my email at 2 something in the morning, but I didn't create that boundary, right? So people do what they want to do. But I'm learning to say no. I'm learning to say, I don't want to. I don't want to come to Beverly Hills to come to your dog's party. I don't want to do it. I'm not talking about locally either.
Dog party.
No, I didn't know, but I didn't want.
But
I didn't want to go to the party.
I would.
Something that somebody spent like $15,000 on. I didn't want to do that because I have my own opinion about it. But anyway, I just didn't want to do it. But I'm learning to say no. I'm learning to say it's okay if you don't get it done today. I don't have to get everything done on the list, even if it's my top 6. But I will stress myself out. Like, oh my God.
So I stopped doing a to-do list because my to-do list was stressing me out.
No, I have to
And
do
so
it.
I
got
to-do list in reverse. I do something, then I write it down, and I cross it off. And then I feel like I did something that day. Because I can literally feel like I did be busy and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But my brain, I'm not structured that way. People think I'm a high D. I'm just not. I'm all over the place most of the time. So I have to accomplish something, then I write it on my list, and then I check it off. So when my husband comes home and asks me, what'd you do today? Because I feel like I'm being interrogated, I can say, these are the things I did.
Now, that I've never heard of, writing my to-do list after I
In
did
reverse.
it. You never know what tips you're going to get.
You feel accomplished.
You never know what tips you're going to get here on the Vantage Point.
That's one way to say you accomplished everything.
Everything
Write
was
it
on
down
my
and
list.
cross it off as
Write
you
it
do
on a list. And you know what? We will have more great tips for you when we come back from this break. Okay, how do we balance our life? We'll be right back. Your voice is missing to God's ears? I know some of us have prayed and we're wondering, how long should I pray about this? Why should I pray if God already knows? How will I know God is answering? And what do I do when I feel like God's not listening? But God is listening for your voice. It's too quiet in this world for the troubles we have. You have to raise your voice, and God wants to hear from you. It's Too Quiet, a book about prayer. It's designed to answer your prayer questions and build your faith. Visit presstopray.com.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
All right, and we're back. Talking about balance and how do you balance everything? And we've heard some great tips come out about a lot of times we overwhelm ourselves. So just learning how to say no and set boundaries, set priorities. Jess said she does a to-do list. And Jen said she does I've done list. I'm
done. I like that.
She said she writes it after she's finished. Yeah. So, I mean, we all have our own tips for survival here. The only one I think we haven't heard from yet is Crystal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chris, how do you handle life?
Jessica hit one of the things I was going to say first. Balance, I think over the years has changed, what that looks like. Mm-hmm. But for me, in my 40s, balance looks like me saying no. And not because I'm not interested and not because I can't. It's just I've learned to say, this is what needs my attention right now.
Yeah.
You know? And I've never been one to deal with, I don't think, anxiety until, you know, I would say the last year I've had issues with anxiety that I've never had before. Mm-hmm. I'm not normally a person that stresses, you know, easily. But I find myself being overwhelmed, and that being overwhelmed leading to having anxiety.
Yeah.
And so I find myself coaching myself. And it's like, okay, Crystal, this is what you got to get done. Mm-hmm. It's going to get done. If it doesn't, then, you know, there's a backup plan. You know, I find myself having to coach or encourage myself more than I ever have. And I think that goes with kind of even where we've been the last 2 years, so much going on. And I think another thing that helped me kind of change how I balance and what I balance is family. Yeah. You know, dealing with different losses, dealing with different ailments or sickness, it puts things in a different perspective. Mm-hmm. This, like you guys said, if my family, I probably would have done the same thing if I had to get to one of my kids. For sure. Because I don't want my kids to feel like something is more important to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that goes... That will stay with them longer than anything else we've done. Well, remember, you were so busy, Mom, that you couldn't do it. No, I need you to remember that I went out of my way that day to make sure you had what you needed, even though I would not have wanted to spend money to do that, you know, because you had something already. But anyway, and I think that is part of balance, is how you address what's on your plate, you know. If my husband calls or if my mom or somebody calls, there was a time where I'd be like, okay, I'll call you back later, or if I can get to you, I'm going to do it now. Mm-hmm. Because in what I'm balancing, you're a part of that. And I think the way that I try to balance is I have to have a to-do list. One, because I forget if I don't have one. And then I'm the type of person, at the end of my day, I go back and say, man, this is what I did today. This is what I didn't get to do today. All right, I need to put this on tomorrow's list. And if I don't do that, something's not going to get done. Mm-hmm. And so I say for me, balance is giving out no's. And I'm not overcommitting myself.
Come on.
I don't like to overcommit myself because if I don't accomplish it, I feel like a failure, and I don't like letting people down or myself.
Yeah.
So no, I'm gonna say this is what I'm gonna commit to.
You don't have to have a reason.
And I think we'll come up with this. We'll talk about this maybe later. But to me, saying no is also a natural part of self-care.
Yeah.
And so all of that to me comes into how do you balance. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I reevaluate, what am I doing? You know, why am I feeling overwhelmed? Did I overcommit? Whatever it is. So balance for me starts with self-inventory of my day and of my schedule.
Yeah.
You know?
I know when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm truly overwhelmed, I usually do none of it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen.
That's a high D move.
I will sit down and be like,
I had a whole bunch to do today, and so I just went and took a nap. I don't know.
That takes courage.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
Not to do nothing?
Mm-hmm. No.
She said when she's feeling overwhelmed, she just don't do anything.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
It all will wait.
Like, I got a whole lot to do between now and Sunday. Mm-hmm. I didn't do any of that yesterday. I watched, Columbo on repeat yesterday. Didn't do any of it. Because I get overwhelmed. I'm not doing anything because I don't know what to do first. And so I'm just like, I don't know. It's just not going to do it. And so I really do hate it when I have days like that. My husband comes home and asks me what I did today. Oh, I didn't do anything. Absolutely nothing.
And it'll get done, but you got to let me go through that.
But you know what? You cannot procrastinate. So for somebody like me, having time is a bad thing. It really is. You can give me 3 or 4 weeks and I know I'm about to do something. I will still wait until the day before to really get excited about it, because I have to be excited about it. I'm not excited about it 3 weeks ahead of time. I'm just not. I'm excited about something else. So I'm not worried about it. Because people think I'm a planner. No, I usually know what I'm gonna do. I usually know what I'm gonna do. And hopefully if everything falls into place that day before, I'm on it. But if you procrastinate, you'll always be overwhelmed. And then again, it goes back to the pressure you put on yourself. I keep yelling at myself, you wasted all that time. You wasted all that time. Procrastination is the enemy. It really is the enemy.
It sure is. I'm behind schedule on some articles, and I don't feel any pressure about that. I was like, if they come out. Well, it's going to be not passed, but we got enough news in the media right now.
You don't need my article.
You don't need my articles right now anyway. And I'm okay with that. I think as we adults, keep growing up, because we're forever growing up, right? We learn that life is going to be life. That's what my grandmother used to always say. She said, oh, baby, that's life. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, don't you want to do something about it? The sky is... I remember one time my uncle, I was 8 years old. I'm on the bed crying, praying to God, please don't let Uncle Johnny go to jail, please. For real, all night, just stayed up. I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I'm just praying to God that he don't go to jail for hitting our cousin Lewis in the head with a bottle and all of this stuff. No, seriously. I'm 8 years old, stressing myself out, and I'm like, nobody came to my rescue for that.
Did he go to jail?
No, they just came and fought him. His kids just came and beat him up or something like that. But the point is, I overwhelmed, the stuff we put on ourselves, I'm grown thinking about that, what did I have to do with that? Mm-mm. That was none of my business. How much business do we get? How much of stuff do we get involved in? It's none of our business.
But it's hard when you have a heart like yours.
It's really hard.
It's just caring.
Oh my God.
And I think everybody at this table, we care. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes to shut that off, it's fighting your very nature.
Yeah. For real.
To not.
That's why that no is always difficult. I have the gift of helps. And so if I feel like I can help you, I'm going to.
Yeah.
But again, you get older and you learn how to say no. And no being a complete sentence. And because I used to have a reason to say no. I don't have to have that now. I'm good
really?
With just the no. Yeah, no, I don't.
You don't have
to
have a reason anymore?
No.
Do you struggle with that?
Nah, not really. Not really. I've gotten a lot better about it too, because what I realized is, and it did take time. You're laughing at me, but it took time. But what I realized is this no is helping you, and it's helping me too. Yeah. Because if you get me doing something I don't really want to do, it's going to feel more like I don't really want to do it, and that's not usually a great thing. So in our best interest, I will just decline.
In our relationship,
That is too funny, because if I ask Sequoia something, and she's like, well, I'm going to think about it, I already started making a plan B, because if she wants to do something, she's like, sure, but if she gets to, well, let me think about it.
If I have to think about it, it's probably not going to happen.
It's going to probably not, but you've come back and said
or
yes.
It's a conflict. It's something, there's another moving piece that I have to figure out before I can just say yes. So I guess it doesn't mean I'll have to think about it. It doesn't always mean no.
But I like what you said. I'm going to start using that. I'm going to say, I heard on the Vantage Point how, I don't even have to have a reason to tell you no. So I want to say no.
No, because I used to legit feel bad.
Yes.
When
Stress
I say
myself
no,
out.
especially if it's something I know I can help you make that better. If I know I can do that, but then I just don't want to, I feel really bad about that. I don't now, but I used to feel really, really bad about that. So then I would just go on and do it. But you know what helped me is I worked with 2 old ladies at the church on a project because they asked me to. We didn't get nothing for that. It was just the worst ever. And I said,
what made it the worst?
Because it was just a lot of personal. It was just a lot going on, and I just was like, God, if we could just get through this, I will never agree. Because I already knew it going in that this is probably gonna be hard. I was so stressed out dealing with them too. I thought, God is not gonna reward me at all for this. We got nothing for this effort. It was
You
the
and Sequoia
biggest
are
wasted
crazy.
effort ever. And I just don't have time to waste. You know, I just don't want
I
to
would
waste
love
time.
to know what it was.
It was so stressful. And I just looked at them both and I said, y'all know we didn't get nothing for this, right? Because the way y'all acted, it was terrible.
I knew you was gonna put it on them. I knew you was gonna put it on them. So
I'm just helping them. I'm just doing what I do to help them make it great. But it was terrible. It was terrible. And I said to myself, I will never waste that kind of energy ever again.
See, but I get that because
I'm not.
one conclusion I've reached, especially in the last few years, is that everything I can do is not my assignment.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Just
true.
because I have the ability to do it does not mean that's where
Exactly.
my resources,
That's those 40s.
my ministry, my purpose is best allocated.
Yep.
And so there's a million things. I want to save the world. I
Yeah.
do. You
She
have
sure
no
does,
idea. I actually mean that literally. Like I have a sheet that has the world on it that's in my house that I pray. I want to save the world. But I realize my assignment has been limited to certain sectors of it. And I do mean sectors of the world, however. But I can't do everything.
Right.
And that's just the reality, you know? We just can't.
Girl, y'all got me over here cracking up today. Sequoia.
I just feel like
I knew she was gonna blame somebody other than
I'm
herself.
telling you, you just don't
Because
have time to waste.
No,
You know what I'm
but I
saying? If I'm gonna put my
understand,
energy
Jenny.
into it.
If
I don't
something
wanna-
is not line upon line, precept upon precept
the
with
word.
you, Jenny, no, if you detour, if she has something in her mind that it has to be a certain way, this is the way it's got to be. If you go a little bit,
Yeah, no,
like
it's-
a little
no.
bit 1 degree over, she's done with the project.
So-
I would have been like,
Because process improvement is what I do all day.
I understand that, but when it comes to
When I look at the big picture,
However, though,
and I
when
realize
it
you're
comes
veering
to-
off,
but
will
what I'm
take it
try-
in the wrong direction.
no,
If I
but
gave you a plan, that's
Please.
because that's the plan.
what I'm trying to say.
I've already thought about your little veering off. All right.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, Jenny, you are not the captain of every ship.
I'm the captain of mine.
All right. So
Right.
if you involve, so when other people are on
I
the
just
boat
won't
with
get on
you-
your ship, sis.
Okay, no problem.
And you know what? They're in. Knowing which ship to be in and to be out of is where
Stay
we're
on
going
your
to
own
find.
ship.
It's where we're going to find balance in life.
No, it has to be a project
no.
oriented people. We have to be project oriented. There's no
No.
big eyes and little you. You please.
No.
Okay.
We're
she's
going to
on
work
Jenny's
together.
side, Sequoia.
We're going to work together. And you know what? The key to balance is knowing that everything does not bear the same weight. So as you're getting your life and working it out, just know it doesn't all weigh the same. Prioritize. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Join us for the Vantage Point.